I'm going live.
Huh?
All right, guys, we are live, episode 149 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight here. Co-host joining us here is Heath and Nikki Clevenger. What's going on?
How's it going?
It's going all right. Good to have you on, Heath. Here, but you're not always the usual on here.
Nah, work schedules.
Yeah, so we have you here to talk with JJ and help us out with this. Jennifer Seymour's joining us as always. What's going on?
Hello, everyone.
And the guest star of the hour, he's also with his beautiful daughter there, JJ Racaza in the house. What's going on, JJ?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing pretty good. It's good to have you back on the show. It's been just over a year. We had you on episode 95. We did a lot of talking, a lot of laughing in that show. I'm sure it's going to be the same this time. But since that show, you had a lot of new stuff going on. So we're going to talk about that here in a few. But let's get into the show sponsors real quick. The show's brought to you by Tactical. I don't want to say it because the girl's on that, but it's brought to you by Tactical SHT. We'll say that. All right. We'll have their link down in the description. We'll talk about some discount codes from them later on in the show. So S3F Solutions for some fine aftermarket Glock barrels. I have one here. This is the new one here. This was in 40. This is the Glock 35 fluted. They come in threaded. They come in black nitride, all kinds of coatings, man. All the cool kids have them. And they're excellent piece of equipment. So check out s3fsolutions.com if you're shopping around next time. Also, Techwear USA for a fine competition jersey. They have some great jackets. They have the Techwell system for your single stack shooters, and they have the Tac Latch AR-15 charging handles from Techwear USA. Q&A section. There is a post that went live on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page right now for you to post your questions down below in the comments for JJ, and we'll get those to him live throughout the show. Also, if you're watching on the YouTube feed in say the top right-hand corner, I think they moved it to. You can also plug in your questions in the Q&A, and I'll grab them, get them over to JJ throughout the show. The Shooter's Mindset app's available for iPhone and Android devices, so if you prefer to watch from the convenience of your cell phone, you can do that there by downloading the app. It's a very well done app. I really like it. So, and the Shooter's Mindset website, so the shootersmindset.com. New blog articles coming every week, and we're adding product. Like I added 2 products today. Tactical bulk carrier groups, and what else? Oh, and their compensator, their rage compensator. So that's up on the Shooter's Mindset shop. So go check all those things out. But let's jump into this one here. JJ, for those who are unfamiliar with you or haven't heard of you, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got involved in the shooting game?
Sure. I started shooting when I was a kid in the Philippines. I was about 7 years old. My dad, we had a little break-in in the house and, kind of just hid in the master's bedroom. My dad was a doctor, so he was always out on call for surgeries and stuff like that. And yeah, we came home and he's like, the house was kind of shattered, and he was kind of just like, hey man, he goes, we have a gun here, and that was the first time I ever seen a gun. I didn't even know we had a gun. It was a 1911 Colt Commander, and he was like, hey, you're gonna need to learn how to step up and protect the family if this ever happens again. And good thing that the helpers were able to fend him off, and no one really got in, no one got hurt, just some shattered furnitures and stuff like that. But nonetheless, he's like, let's go out to the range, shoot, and he taught me how to shoot, and he was like, good enough. It was a 45 first. Now I think about it, now that I have kids, 7 years old, I'm like, man, my dad was really being serious about that. 45, think about it. And then he's like, well, you're not touching the gun again until you dry fire, and you can beat me in my draws and my reloads. My dad was already competing by then, so I would use his rig, just use a couple of what do you call that, rubber band to hold it together or something like that. And yeah, for about, I don't know what drove me, but for a year I just kept on dry firing. And from there I shot till I was 13. When I was 13 years old, I actually placed in the qualifying ranks for London World Shoot in the Philippines. I was 6th overall in the entire match and qualifications at that time. And Jethro and all these guys were still there. I didn't make the team. They didn't have a junior team either. They weren't going to sponsor me or anything like that. But I was moving here anyway. And yeah, I didn't pick up a gun until I was 1999, 6 years later. And ever since then, I started shooting limited again, and went back to open. First time shooting open was 2001. And then from there, got contracted, did a contracting gig for a little bit, started teaching back then at 22 years old, thinking I knew a lot, or knew how to teach. Then joined the Federal Service 2006, and just left the Federal Service last year, May, actually, to start my own business here in Las Vegas. And now I have this beautiful girl and a little boy.
Excellent.
And an awesome wife.
I mean, so you start off with a 45 ACP at a very young age, so that, I mean, that's kind of not the usual caliber people start off with. At 13, you're already beating all the men, you know, and then you start flopping around in open, and now you've won what, 2 or 3 world shooting championships, world speed steel championships, and you're like what, 3-time grandmaster and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of funny, right? The title of grandmaster is like almost everybody's a grandmaster nowadays. But yeah, I used to. I mean, it's still pride, right? To be able to accomplish that goal of being a grandmaster is not easy. It's not for everyone. Everyone can spend, a lot of years there, trying their ass butt off, but they're just not built for it, or they're training incorrectly, or whatever. But yeah, the World Steel Challenge, I won all 3 divisions: open, limited, and production. Did a couple things in the open division, not so much in terms of winning a nationals, but at least I placed. Man, I've always been a bridesmaid. I think I counted it. I think it was like the last 12 years of shooting open from 2001 to 2012 or something like that. I think that's like 11 years. I'm supposed to be Asian. I'm good at math. But anyway, I was second, I think, or second maybe 6 times, and like third maybe 5 times, and only one time I was out of the top 3. It's retarded, and I've come close very many times to win. Then the world shoot, I've come in second a couple of times in open and production. The only reason why I left open really was to chase Eric.
And he was shooting production at the time, right?
He was shooting open in 2011. I came real close to beating him, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna chase you, and I'm gonna get you the next world shoot. And he said, no, you're not in open. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, I'm shooting production. I'm like, yep, right there in Greece, right there and then. I was like, Naya, you need to step up, please, and finish your dinner. Okay, you're making too much noise. Go ahead. Sorry, guys. Finish your dinner, okay? Come back later. No, finish your dinner. You didn't eat enough. Anyway, yeah, right there and then in Greece, I decided I was gonna chase him as well in the production division. My dad looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, hey, dude. He goes, you have never shot a production gun ever in your life. He goes, you're gonna switch now because you're doing well in open? You finally figured this game out? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Because what's the point of winning the world championship if the guy that's been winning it for 15 years isn't there anymore?
Yeah, I hear that. Well, it's a good thing to accomplish. You want to go against. You want to be the best. You got to beat the best, right? That's what they.
Well,
you know.
That is that's always been my mentality, but I don't know if it paid off. I mean, I just got second twice in 2 world shoots in the last 6 years, so I don't know if I wasted it or actually did myself any better or any good. So we'll see in the long run, right? If it does. I feel like shooting production has definitely enhanced my game, and it's also hurt it a little bit in the open game. So there's give and take.
Do you think you'll go back to open?
Absolutely. I'm going to be dry firing this in a little bit. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry guys, give me a second. Naya, behave, stop crying, go over there and eat please, okay? What's wrong? Go eat. Nita?
She wants.
What happened? I'm sorry guys.
She wants your attention.
Huh? What is it? Oh, Naya, sit there over there and drink your stuff, okay?
Remember? Bless your heart.
Bless her. She wants to hang out with Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, I gotta.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
What do you call that? My little girl is a little sensitive when I jack up her schedule and routine. Shh, come here, sit over here. Sit over here next to me. Come here. Right here. Come here, right here. Right here, sit next to me. Right here.
Oh.
God, okay, you can stop crying, okay?
I feel the same way when he messes up my schedule.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be hanging out, and he like, it's our night to hang out. He makes plans to do something else. I get pretty upset too.
My schedule hasn't been disrupted, and I feel like doing that just based on my day at work today. So you know.
Sorry guys, this is my life though, you know. So this is real. I love it. I absolutely enjoy everything about it, and the kids are awesome. And I think it just makes you realize what life is all about, and what there's more to it than just myself.
Yeah. No, we appreciate you coming on because I know you have a real busy schedule with the shop and all that stuff, shooting schedule, and then you got the kids you got to worry, that are on your mind also, and then you're doing this in the middle of all this stuff. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot going on.
Totally good.
All right, but last time since you've been on, it was episode 95. We'll have a link down in the description below if you guys want to check out the past episode we did with JJ. But you had a lot of big things, a lot of big moves. It's moving to Vegas, and also you opened up your own pro shop or Magnet Shooting Sports, right? So tell us about that.
Yes, sir. So basically, the concept came out. It's called Magnus Sports. First of all, the name is Magnus Sports, and Magnus basically is it's like in Spanish, it's like calling somebody Don, and where is that? Like the European countries. It's like Magnus is like it means great or something like that. So my partner really believes in this sport, and he loves the sport. I absolutely have the same passion as his, and we're always trying to grow it. So we call it Magnus Sports, but the company is actually named here in Vegas. It's Nevada Arms LLC. There'll be more to it in the future, but for now, phase 1 and 2 is basically just setting up the gun shop. Not only a gun shop, but basically making it look like a pro shop where people can come in and get set up and see guns that you normally wouldn't see being stocked in stores, see products and accessories that you normally wouldn't see being stocked in the normal gun store. So that's kind of our niche here in Vegas. So a lot of people come in and they get shocked that we have CK arms, you have limb cats, things that they've never seen before, never played with before. We're about to get that new shotgun, Dissident Firearm, Dissident Arms, or something like that, by Mike and their crew. That's gonna blow people's minds out, and some STIs and all that, along with the Glock and the SIGs and all that stuff. Plus, on top of our holsters, that people come in looking for holsters all the time, and I'm like, well, I got these concealed carry holsters, but these are the holsters that we have. And they go, what kind of holster is that? It's like the Speed holster, the Limcat holster, the JR holsters, and we have the ELS, SLS systems and stuff like that, the Fireland gear. So it's just random. I guess in this saturated market here in Vegas, you kind of have to have a niche, I guess, and that's kind of we found a niche in there.
Here's what you need to do, see, SHOT Show, when we all come down there, you need to hire a driver with a van and have them just come to the Venetian and advertise that they're driving to your store, and then we can all come see your store.
Goodness, what's fun? This is what's real funny about that, right? This year SHOT Show, we had a little launch on the company. We just wanted to get people to know that it's out there. So I invited like 50 folks and I think 45 RSVP, and we're like, all right, we got 45 people. And I don't know how.
500.
Yeah, it was like 200 plus showed up, and I'm like, oh my God, we ran out of food in 35 minutes. We had to order more food. We had over 200 beers being drank or something like that, and it was just filled. Like my office was filled, people were there, and it was just awesome support from the community. Mostly from the competition side, but there were other what do you call it? I call them Instagram famous, and guys that have gotten done really well in the Instagram world, and they come in and support us, and it was great. People would, and they're just posting about it, and it was kind of a, I guess it ended up becoming a bigger deal than it was. It was supposed to be more of a family, close friends event, but then the word of mouth is everyone just kept on spreading it that there's a party going on.
Yeah,
Cousins having a party in Vegas. Let's go.
Yeah, you can't do that. You invited 45 people, so those 45 people told all their friends, and then they all happen to be in the same spot. So that's how it usually rolls at SHOT Show.
Yeah, that's how SHOT Show is. Everybody's a party crasher.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you need an invite to go here. It doesn't matter. They all just go there anyway. Yeah. So I see some questions, guys, coming in on the website and on YouTube. I'm going to try to get to those, but the best way to get your questions in is over on the Shooter's Mindset Facebook page. We post a funny picture of, it's not JJ, but it's kind of close, and I think it's a good meme that I posted up there. JJ, you got to go check it out, man.
I'm dying to see it.
Yeah. It's the dude from Bloodsport.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Someone
Yeah.
commented about that earlier. Like, he's done really well on Bloodsport, but it's gotten smaller through the
Yeah.
years or something like that.
Yeah, you got a little smaller throughout the years, yeah. But yeah, so post your comments below that photo. That's the best way to do it, and we'll get them over to JJ throughout the show here. But your shop, it's definitely obviously I follow you on Facebook and stuff like that, so I see what's kind of going on. And what separates yourself from all the other firearm shops? Because in the Vegas area, there's tons of them. Like right there by the Strip, there's a lot of gun shops there. So what separates your shop?
I would say, first of all, that's probably the only. This is too. I don't know. It's hard to say this, but that's probably the only shop that has like a pro shooter working it. And then the biggest difference is that we carry the exotic guns, the guns that people may have to order, special order, customized, and all that stuff. Wait for about a year or so to get. We try to stock them and all that stuff. So, yeah, thank you. Also the layout of the shop. I mean, really proud. How do I forget? We wanted to display the guns correctly with white background, with clean lighting, floating stand display. So the guns look clean. So it's almost like a boutique when you walk in, like a jewelry, but for guns.
Right on, yeah.
So instead of like women getting in trouble going into a jewelry store, like the men to come in, the husbands to come in, they're like, oh my God, this is like heaven for us.
Yeah. And
That's so funny. There's a shop, there's a jewelry store here in our town that is very nice jewelry, and the guy loves guns, and he opened a gun shop in the back of it. Southeastern Armory is in the back of this big jewelry store and high-end stuff. So every time I go in there, I walk in and they're like, oh, ma'am, can I help you with some jewelry? And I'm like, no, I'm going back there.
You don't fit the bill.
So you have pretty much the firearms that you're not going to see in your common gun shop, and most of these firearms you have to wait a year or so to get, or these are custom pistols, or you have open guns, you have limited guns, you have your basic Glock pistols, but you have the ELS system. Like I'm thinking about gun shops that are close to me, they don't have the Safariland system with all the, you can get a whole 3-gun rig right at your shop. So this is the good thing about it.
Yes, and basically also another thing is that you can walk in and pick up any STI part. We pretty much have all the parts except for a few SKUs. We can't carry all of them, but you can go. We separate it. You can go to the lower side or the upper side. We have some EGWs. We have some Dawsons. We have some coming soon. We have some Cajun Gunworks parts. We have Seymour's, all the Seymour scopes and all that stuff. Really cater to competition. And you can even come in and build your own 2011 STI or 1911 if you want, because we have the STI frame kits.
It's like Build-A-Bear, but for guns.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
You have a gunsmith on site?
Not yet. That's a second and third phase. We're trying to find a gunsmith. Essentially, it's going to happen in the long run. There's not many very good gunsmiths here in Las Vegas. There's a lot of gunsmiths, but not a solid. There was one guy I keep hearing about him, Matt Fab. What?
I don't think that's just limited to Vegas.
Yeah, they're hard to come by.
Yeah, good ones.
Really good ones are.
That's we don't want to just hire anyone.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not when you got a shop that nice.
Yeah, and you can easily ruin your reputation, with one stupid build or one stupid move, especially on that side. There's liability involved and all that, so gotta be careful. But yeah, hopefully we'll find that right one.
Right on. I got one here that came in. This is from Mike Whitesides, posted here on the website. Magnet Sports is the first dealer of dissonant arm shotguns, as you mentioned earlier. So
that's right.
So if you want a tricked out 3-gun ready shotgun, or if you want a Sega 12 Vepr 12, usually, I know because I talked to them personally about getting a shotgun done, and they have a wait time. So if you don't want to wait, give JJ a call at the shop, or go in the shop, and you might just grab it, boom, and it's yours.
Correct.
Do the paperwork, and you're out of there. No better way to do that. No waiting.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Any live ones that came on Facebook or anything?
Well, I was gonna say it, but he put it on the website and you took it, so never mind.
There you go. All right.
Michael Whiteside's cross-posted his question, or his comment.
Yeah, I'm clicking. I know there's a couple more. What's that, Nikki?
Well,
I said he cross-posted it because he wanted to make sure you said it. Did you talk
That's right.
about the arm?
that's right. Hey, and Lan Wynn says selection is what separates his shop.
Oh, that's awesome. Lan's been in the shop.
I can't imagine going into any gun store and having a choice of just having a choice of 2011s, period. Much less being able to go in there and go, well, let me pick up that Limcat and check the slide out in the trigger.
Yeah.
Good. Let me pick one up side by side and compare that level of gun. I mean, you can't even do that at SHOT Shows unless the booths happen to sit beside one another.
I've seen that. The only time I've come close to one of those guns was like in somebody's holster, like shooting another stage. That's about it. I've always seen them on Eye Candy, Instagram, and stuff like that on the page, but never got a chance to see one in person. So
that's the thing too. You might catch a couple at the range, but it seems to be when you go to a match, it's a little geographical. Most guys are gonna have guns all made by the same gunsmith. You know what I mean? You might get a little variation, but for the most part, you're gonna get a gun made by one gunsmith. You just don't have opportunity to go, hey, let me hold your Liddell gun. Let me hold your Jeff Abernethy gun. Let me hold that CK Arms gun, and actually put them side by side to check them out.
Ooh, I'm getting me some knee pads.
What, you're checking out his website?
Yes. Good looking knee pads.
This is random.
And you can't say stuff like that.
Yeah. Right?
Well, the knee pads that I have, you don't wear them all the time, but if you're going to have a stage where you're prone or kneeling, you need them. And
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you said that, Nikki, because that's what I was thinking, but didn't want to say it.
I was like, where did that come from?
We're talking about 2011, and then all of a sudden...
Because I was looking at his website and I was like, cool, they have
we're talking about 4,000 or 5,000 custom 1911s, 2011s. He jumps out, ooh, I need some knee pads.
I've been looking for good knee pads for shooting, and the volleyball ones have to go over your shoe, which is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some live questions and comments here coming from the YouTube thing, the comment section. John McLean says, take off your shirt. This is, John.
Who's he talking to?
Hey, Jim, take your shirt off.
That's become something, I don't know what happened, but that's become something, a mind of its own or a life of its own in Instagram or Facebook lately. Anything I posted, someone always comments, hey man, next time you do something, take off your shirt. I'm like, where did this come from? And it comes from all dudes. Like, it's not coming from women or teeny boppers or anything like that. It's all dudes, my friends. And then other people, random folks just jumped into it.
Yeah.
I guess they say, is Matt Best based out of Vegas too?
Matt? Who? Matt? Yeah, no, he's in Arizona, I think. I think he's in Arizona, AR-15, right?
I don't know where he's based out of, but he puts up shirtless pictures all the time out in the desert. So that's all I know is out in the desert. I figured maybe they're tying y'all in together.
Well, that's okay. Your wife posts pictures of your butt all the time.
Yeah.
True spec pants, man, I'm telling you. Look, I went to a match, right, and they're giving away one of the random drawings at the beginning of the monthly match are a pair of True Spec pants, and I hear somebody behind me go, those are those pants that have that little bit of extra stretch in them, in case you got to bend over or something like that. And I turned around and I was like, you're damn right they do. Somebody saw his big butt on Facebook about them pants having a little extra stretch in them. All I'm saying is I'm doing my job.
Marketing.
Yeah, there you go. I got a question here from
my job.
From Anthony Nunez. He says, explain the beautiful cyber cat you posted on Instagram. Is it 9 or 38 except I'm the guy that bought the Razor Cat from you.
Yeah, so the new Sabercat is the new model that Limcat created in the open gun. It's like his new wildest creation. He told me about it about a month ago. or a month and a half ago, and he was basically like, I got the design down. I just got to finalize it in my head. And that's how he freaking works. It's so weird how he functions, how he designs, how his mind never stops designing. And the coolest part about Johnny is that he's kind of evolved also with the gun industry. He's like, before he was so heavy in terms of design and cuts and all that. Now he's kind of marrying it up with functionality and reliability and all that stuff. So the new Sabercat, usually he names his guns after people, but right now I don't know who this is named for or after. But man, I don't know not much more about the gun except for the picture that came out. It's going to be a very flat shooting gun. It's going to have an H-bar tungsten sleeve on it, some ridiculous color that he chose. I think it's appropriate with the little cuts on the side. So unfortunately, I don't know much about the gun itself, except that besides being the best gun porn out there right now on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's a sexy gun. I can't wait to test it out and have it in the shop.
This one here is from Woody. He said, what's your top 3 advice or tips you can give a shooter to be successful in the sport and to be competitive? So 3 top tips from JJ. What do you have?
Focus on your marksmanship, master the basics, and get in shape.
Boom. There you go. Get in shape can be hard for a lot of folks in itself.
Yeah, well, the reason why I add that in there is because the movement part. I always get that, right, the question of movement. And people always ask me, like, hey, how can you be faster? How can you move? I was like, man, really, the field course is easy. Go to this area, shoot it as fast as you can and as accurately as you can. Move to this area, shoot it. And then every time in between, before and right after the bang, is movement. Whatever you do with that gun, whether you're driving the gun back on target or you're letting it ride on recoil, or how you're transitioning, whether flatline or bump transition, is where you'll save 0.05 here or there between shots, and that makes a difference overall when you have 32 rounds, or when you have 16 targets and you're transitioning that many times, and if you have 4 positions, you're moving that many times. So that's where people miss a lot, and a lot of times people say, oh, I just got to shoot faster. I'm like, well, it's not really shooting faster. It's just about being efficient in everything that you do. Because I don't shoot a lot. Like this year so far, I've only shot 3,900 rounds so far. My schedule's been completely jacked up, but throughout my years, the most I've ever shot in 1 year, maybe 15,000 rounds. Even that's including World Shoot 2011 when I was shooting. I've always been focused on my career and my job, and shooting just kind of has always been there and followed me, and it's kind of one of those callings that I'm like, I got to do it, and I got to try to be good, and I've just been fortunate enough to be able to compete, and I think a lot of that is because of, in the government, I was in better shape than I am now. Now I'm just skinny fat. When I was in the government, I was in pretty damn good shape. I was working out 6 times a week, sometimes 2 times a day, and I think that allowed me to be able to attack field courses and be a little bit more stable sooner, because there's a lot less things moving and stuff like that. So I think, I don't know, just being stronger. You don't have to be in shape. I kind of use the wrong term. Just being stronger in general.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Go ahead, Heath. It's going to lead into a big conversation, so hit yours.
It's like when you say stronger, also for the most part for shooting pistol, I would imagine that you're talking a lot more like core, lower body, so you can stop the movement and increase the speed really fast. Because I notice that's probably one thing that I struggle with a little bit, is coming out of position really hard and then being able to push a little bit of speed that I have into a position real deep and slow down really fast.
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't a big believer in it until I got into Olympic lifting a while back, and really it was like squatting 2 to 3 times a week and really going heavy. I don't have big legs. And I was like, man, I'm not built for this. I have long tibias, I have long limbs and stuff like that. And then I didn't see my dad for 6 months, and my dad's the one that really knows a lot about my shooting. He knows where to pick me up and say the right things to kind of bring me in together. And he saw me shooting. We finally got together and shooting a match, and he was like, hey, he goes, what have you been doing? And I'm like, he goes, Dad, I've been doing a little bit of CrossFit and a lot of Olympic lifting, a lot more leg workout. He's like, okay. He goes, I know I told you to stop doing CrossFit. He's like, you might get hurt, whatever. But he goes, whatever you're doing, keep doing it from now on. He goes, I'm a believer. He goes, I've never seen you move as fast as you do now and stop on a dime He goes, and then pick up the shots and still be as accurate as you used to be. So he goes, do whatever you're doing, and just maintain that. So I've changed my workout to like beach body muscle, just bench press and shoulder press on bicep curls all day long, to like a lot of squats, a lot more steady core and strengthening up my core, and a lot more body calisthenics type stuff now. So like when I say being in shape, it doesn't mean like being like in good looking body shape. It's just being strong and being functional and being able to move the weight that you need to move as fast as you can, and being able to stop that momentum that you're carrying, I call it noise, into that position, to be able to subdue that noise and minimize any movement, whether it's your leg or your foot, because that'll essentially translate towards the pistol, the firearm, right? The rifle's a little bit different. I mean, Heath, you'd probably know a little bit better, but 3 points of contact is a little bit more steadier than when you just have the firearm floating in midair.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What can someone do? I mean, not everybody is blessed with good movement, right? People can be an excellent shooter, but they just don't. They're just kind of awky in the movement, right? So maybe they're working out. You know, maybe the buffest dude on the block usually doesn't have. He's usually not the quickest guy out there. So what movement drills can you do for someone who wants to improve their movement out there on the field?
I got it. So when I started really getting focused into movement, which was 15 years ago probably, I did a lot of work with soccer. I started looking at who has like the best footwork and best coordination. I was clumsy. I did martial arts as a kid, did all that, and then did years of that and stuff like that. But I was never really the best in terms of footwork. My grandfather was, and my dad is a judo black belt commando, Judokan karate black belt instructor, and he would tell me, he would comment all the time about how clumsy my footwork is and how I was never in position to be able to strike and deliver a good punch. And literally, I started Googling YouTube and all that stuff, and I looked at the best footwork out there. It led me to soccer players. And so I grabbed a basketball. I didn't even have a soccer ball. I just grabbed the basketball and started doing the drills that they did. And then just messing around with the ball, kicking around, moving and running fast with it. And then sooner or later, it took a while. It was very frustrating at first because, you think you're a man. You're like, oh, I should be able to pick this up easily. And you can't. You're so clumsy. You fall and trip and all that stuff. And it's boring. You're not seeing any immediate results. So soccer, really having a ball and just kind of juggling it with your feet. Not juggling, but just kicking around and controlling it and stopping at a dime, sprinting. And then couple that with some of the sprint work that I did in terms of the ladder drill. Not necessarily by a ladder, but like drawing some sort of diagram on the ground where you kind of have a goal to touch and hit and all that stuff, and being able to move and activate those fast twitch muscles is really what opened my eyes and allowed me to compete at the highest level without shooting even 10% of what most of the guys that I compete with shoot. Just because and it brings that confidence. I bring that confidence to the field course too. So now when I go to a field course and I see some sort of movement, especially if it's technical, getting into a weird position and all that stuff, I get a little bit more excited, which translates to me being a little bit more relaxed. And then with me being able to be so familiar with my body now in terms of been doing it for so long, seeing other people shoot before me, I can pick out like, oh man, he just fumbled a little bit of that position. He struggled getting into that. Oh, that he just gave me a second. So if I take my time, I can't shoot as fast as him. I just focus my hits. I'll make up all my time in that one position right there, and then I can explode out of that position faster than anyone anyway. So, it just kind of carried into confidence. And IPSC, I feel like that's why I've done better in IPSC and international matches, is because the movement is so much more technical. There's a lot more taking away your balance type shooting. So I don't know. So I feel like doing those drills. Play with the ball and your feet and start learning how to do things with your feet and just kind of activating those fast twitch muscles. It really truly helped me. So I don't know if it'll help everyone else, but that's where I started, and that's when it really I felt like it really excelled for me. And now I couple that with some strength training in terms of Olympic lifting and my legs and stuff like that. It's really opened my game a little bit more. Excellent.
Yeah. So it makes sense. Soccer players, they're gonna have the quick feet. They're gonna have explosive movement. It makes sense. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. It just makes sense.
Those soccer guys are amazing to watch.
Oh, are you talking about the guys just looking at them, or are you talking about the game itself?
No, the game. Their feet. Like, they can put a ball wherever they want it to go. I can't even throw a ball and be as accurate as they are with kicking it. It's ridiculous.
That was the biggest thing that really attracted me. Not attracted me. I mean, drew my
Yeah,
attention.
so see, you're the one that likes what they look like, not me. See?
Stop blowing up my spot. No, but soccer, it was all about getting the ball ahead of them about 5 to 8 yards and sprinting to that ball as fast as they can. So it was very similar to what our game is. It wasn't all about the 100-meter sprint or 50-yard dash. It was about the 8-yard sprint, who can get there the fastest. And our game is literally being able to open up your hips and blowing up your strides, putting it in the right position to be able to get to the next position or get in almost full speed in 4 yards. You know what I mean? So that's where it attracted me for that.
Have you ever looked at or talked with anybody that maybe like a running back coach or something that deals with some of the more the power runners that don't generally run as far in football? Ever thought? I mean, that just popped in my mind when you talk about opening your hips up, and getting into a big stride as quick as you can. I'm not much for soccer, but I like football. So
yeah. So I had the opportunity to work with a couple of the Parisi schools, Parisi Speed School, and a lot of that they talked about how to position your body to be able to get and maximize the efficiency in your movement or whatever distance you're covering. And the way they broke it down really was like they broke it down to the most basic form, which I really like because it's kind of how I approach shooting also. Is they broke it down to the most basic form. They said walking. What is walking? And now everyone was kind of looking at each other, and they were like, basically it's a controlled movement, a controlled falling movement. You're basically leaning forward and you're catching yourself every single time you do it over and over and over. And he goes, running is basically that, but you're leaning further forward because as far as you can lean, you got to catch yourself. Or if you're not going to move your feet fast, you're going to fall flat on your face. And that's kind of how it started. And they were like, you got to think about those and how you position your feet in terms of being able to explode from one position to the next. And I took that from there, and I was like, my God, it's like that really hit me. And I was grabbed. I mean, I was drowning in the pool full of Kool-Aid with my mouth wide open. Yeah. And they had a lot of football coaches there, sprinting and all that stuff. So they had some simple. It's the craziest thing. The simplest drills really opens up in terms of being able to push off the ground, learning how to push off with your toes. That was another big thing. Jump rope, double unders, anything like that, any kind of jump rope, really helped being to build that muscle and stabilizers and increase your strength and that popping and activating those fast twitch muscles. That was another thing. We warmed up every day, every morning with jump ropes and stuff like that. And then you get fancy with it and stuff and all that stuff. But you can really feel the way you explode when you're paying attention to it. The way you explode, how your toes are curling instead of just being flat-footed. How you drag your feet, how you pick up your legs, and how I could get it all into it. But yeah, there was things that I got into it before, and it was a lot of it was football coach and stuff like that.
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember I was shooting a stage in Alabama early this year, the Three Gun Nation Regional, and we had this one stage that had a good probably 15 to 18 yard sprints from one position to another, and I knew that was a long way from me. Yeah, exactly. You don't usually do that a whole lot. And I just remember thinking, like, when you run, like, pick your knees up, like high knees, because I need as much speed as I can get, because that's just free time. If you can get just a little bit more speed from the position to position. And even when I got done, the guys that were watching me were like, I didn't know you could move like that. So it's funny you said that because it's the little things like that you think about, and I think I got a quick question on it. Do you work on the explosiveness out of positions and the breaking portion of getting into positions so much that it becomes second nature, just like it does on your draw and your mag change and stuff like that? Because I know that's one place where I'm weak in my shooting.
So in terms of working at it so much, it's not like my dry fire. Like right now, I made a promise. It's kind of funny, huh? Right? You make a promise to yourself, like I'm going to dry fire every day till the World Shoot next year, and you kind of have to own up to it. And then I was like, oh, how do I make myself accountable? So I posted it online.
Right.
And now I get like 50 messages per week basically asking me, hey, what was the dry fire? And they send me videos of like, hey, can you identify this inefficient, all that stuff. So it kind of taken a life of its own. And every night I have to dry fire, even though I may not be able to post about it. Every night I have to because I feel bad, like all these guys are dry firing. So I don't work on it to that nauseum, but I did a long time ago. And during my during my training, when I'm able to do live fire, I do work on being able to explode out. And my dad and I will simplify the drill. It won't be a shooting drill. It'll be a movement drill, and we literally shoot and fire one round in the A zone and explode to the next position, and trying different techniques. A lot of the things that I employ myself, a lot of it was trial and error, because not one thing fits the mold, right? Like what I do may not fit yours or my technique and stuff like that. So I try what works for me, and or pay attention to what other people are doing, and then I'm like, all right, Dad, let's try that out. We look at the pack timer. The pack timer really is the best instrument, because it tells you. It doesn't tell you a lie. It really just straight up tells you, hey, man, you were 0.05 slower on this movement versus that movement.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm reading some of the live questions that are coming in, JJ, and they're pretty funny. So
Fans off now?
Yeah, there is some of that. Jen, you have some that you want to hit on your end, though?
Yeah, two little comments. Some young lady named Jessica, I don't know if you know her, but she says, what other gun shop can you go to where you will get the first-hand knowledge and experience from one of the world's best shooters? Another distinction of his shop.
I think she's a groupie.
I think she might be a groupie. By her picture, her profile picture, she must be a groupie.
That's my beautiful wife. Yes,
no.
She's very biased. I don't know. I'm embarrassed now. I'm a little blushing.
Oh, that was a very sweet comment, though. And she's right. I mean, you are an expert and one of the best shooters, so that is something big to be able to go in and talk to you about. I mean, I imagine that's a huge thing for people that are just getting into it, to be able to go in and have someone that's experienced, because a lot of competitive shooters, a lot of shops are not owned by competitive shooters that would know that side of the game. It's definitely a different ball game than just going and shooting guns.
And most of the time they don't, I don't know, they're kind of hit and miss with the guys behind the counter. Like, dude, did they just teach you like a week ago on this stuff, or what? So you kind of run into those guys, and then you run into those old timers that kind of know it all.
Yeah.
So it's usually those guys, but you had one more you want to hit?
And then Michael Whitesides, again, is still watching the show, and he said, best thing I learned in Team JJ's class was the importance of trigger prep during follow-through and shooting while moving.
Excellent. Yeah, you guys did that huge. You guys did that big. I was jealous seeing those guys out there with you, Travis, and Max. That was like a vacation. It was just a shooting vacation, man. That's what it was.
It was an awesome idea that Max and I have talked about it for years. They had to teach together, but him and his wife came up with an idea of making it an experience, hanging out the entire day, basically 12 hours a day with each other, and picking your brains out no matter what, right? I mean, picking your experiences out. And it's funny when even though Max and I and Travis and I never really taught together, it's cool to see that he came from the military background and he was able to teach in that realm. I came from the government background. I was able to teach in that realm. Years of experience in there at least. And what that brings to us is that being able to break down the movements. I think Heath can know this because he's a law enforcement guy. Heath, I'm sure you're probably an instructor too in your Right, exactly. Most competition guys become an instructor, and all you teach is the basics, because you don't really worry about anything else. And I used to think, man, I don't consider myself an advanced teacher because I just pick out the basics. I can see things that they're doing, and I pick it out, and it's the smallest, most basic thing. They probably forgot about it, and I remind them, and it improves their shooting tenfolds, right? Not tenfolds, an exaggeration, but whatever. It's my show, so.
Yes, it is.
But it's cool, and to see that you break something down, you say something, and then or someone asks a question, and you think in your head going, man, this is how I would answer that, and then Max does the same thing, and you're going, it's kind of cool. And then sometimes talking to Robbie watching some of his videos, and you're like, holy cow, I've never really paid attention to what he used to say, but that's the stuff that I preach. I'm like, goodness gracious, it kind of gets verified, and it's kind of cool that just sticking to the basics really is the biggest thing on it all.
Right on.
Say it is great when you've been teaching a bunch of guys a specific topic, only to hear somebody that is well known and kind of maybe in a different realm or something like that, and they say the exact same thing. You're like, I've been trying to tell you. You don't pay me no attention.
That's the look I get all the time. I'm like, I should share this. Like, I've been telling guys for freaking 8 years, they don't believe me. I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is what I said. I was like,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
it'll be verified now. I'm legit now.
I'm gonna run through some comments here on the YouTube feed. They might be on the Facebook too, but Michael Wynn says, "Does JJ even age?" Question mark.
I think that's a racist question because
Yeah.
I'm Asian, man. I look like I'm 18, but I'm 36 now.
Yeah. Does JJ ever come to Arizona to shoot? This is from Daniel Horsemanship.
Yes. Now that I'm in the West Coast, it's basically Arizona and Texas and California and all the not really California. I get nervous now driving over there, but Utah and all these West Coast-ish states. I'm gonna basically be visiting them quite a bit as soon as my wife gets here. My wife's still obviously in the East Coast, and she's cranking away over there while I pursue my dream out here. And having both the kids here is hard on me because I don't have time to do a lot of things, and that's why I don't get to shoot much at all, practice or train. That's why I just dry fire. But I'm sure it's harder on her being away from her three loves. Forgot about me.
Yeah, no doubt about that. This one also says from Woody here. He says, "Tell JJ to take his shirt off." So.
Goodness gracious, I'm wearing a V-neck today for a reason.
Yeah.
Showing enough skin.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, take your shirt off. They keep coming in. This is from Lee Cable here. He says, "What's your draw to first shot average time with a production gun?"
It depends on what gun. If it's my Tanfoglio, depending on what yardage, I usually measure stuff like that. I usually measure myself at 10 yards. If it's a production gun, double action, single action, like a Tanfoglio, I'd probably break it about 1-1, 1-0 something consistently. I got into the .9 near the end of my production, not end, but near the end of last year. I would say I was starting to peak on production, and I was getting about the .97s and stuff like that consistently. I could probably print a hole about this big, about 4 inches in diameter, consistently .97. But if it's a Glock, I'll probably crank it a little Glock with a little bit modification where I don't have to worry about that angle. It's all the same point. I'll probably crank it a .9, .92 consistently. Controlled. That's just fast first shot type stuff.
Right.
With this open gun right now, probably in the .92s, .95s also.
Excellent. That's pretty smoking. I mean, like I said, you don't have a lot of time, but a guy at your level, what do you really try to focus on when you do have that time to dry fire or that time to live fire? What is your focus on the limited time?
I've been doing a lot of dry fire right now. So I started this challenge middle of March, and I've been doing every day until today. Geez, I haven't missed a day yet, and even if it takes if it's only 5 minutes. But basically, what I focus on when I'm dry firing, I'm focusing on a few things, right? I'm trying to minimize everything, any kind of movement, any kind of noise. So let's just break it down real quick. The easiest win is this draw and fire one shot on a little pasty on a wall. I pay attention to where my dot was. Now that I'm shooting open gun, where I'm paying attention to where my dot landed, and if it's landing there consistently, and if I have to adjust something, and how far it is from the target. Because what I look for is that movement from minute adjustment from that dot to maybe an inch over low right, because sometimes it tends to always end up high, is to me wasted time. It's time running. So if I can plant my dot right on that target, and I leave a very tight margin, so I leave about I put like let's say a 2-inch circle on the wall, and I'm dry firing about 10 yards. I pay attention to those things, so I try to minimize the gap of me trying to look and settle the target and settle the dot while prepping the trigger and getting the shot off. So the way I dry fire is I use a pack timer. Usually I use the pack timer. That's funny. Robbie Latham just texted me. I don't know what I think maybe because I commented about what he said.
Yeah.
So
Robbie Latham's watching the show. That's
I know. Look at that, Robbie Latham, right? Oh, he just told me he's in Vegas, I guess. So anyway, maybe he's watching. I don't know. But what do you call that? So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So in dry fire, I pay attention to the movement. I try to minimize all the movement, any kind of minute adjustments I have to do, and I can do that through dry fire and just building up muscle memory. So that's why one of the things about biggest difference between real world and competition shooters is that most competitions will square up and look for the natural point of aim to their first initial target, wherein in the real world you don't have that opportunity or chance, right? Most of the time, at least. But yeah, I try to look for that stuff. And in my reloads, what I'm looking for is, oh, going back, I'm sorry, I'm going ahead. I talk about the pack timer. I look and set the pack timer at 0.95, and my goal is to get my dot as settled as I can before the second buzzer. Maybe I'll drop down to 0.90 depending on how I feel that day. Sit down, please, my love. You're gonna fall. My love, sit down. And then from there, once I know my dot is settled, I know in my head I could have fired the shot and probably be within an inch or two of that target. But I don't really technically break the shot fast either or press the trigger fast, because what I realized was a long time ago when I was a kid, dry firing a lot, just like I do now, is that I used to try to beat as a part-time, draw and fire trigger, draw and fire. It looks something like this, like draw and fire, and pull the trigger, and then have like an unsteady sight picture. And what I found out was it built a bad muscle memory. If their muscle has a memory, but it, for lack of a better term, built a bad muscle memory in me where I would be able to pull off those shots at 15 and 10 yards, 1 second and all that jazz, but the minute my dad takes me back to 30, 40, or 50 yards, I couldn't slow it down, meaning I couldn't control myself because it was built in me. The minute I see some sort of sight picture, even if it wasn't steady, and we all know that at distance you have to have a steadier sight picture to be able to break a shot and good shot. Even if it was just still shaky, I'd break the shot at 1.1. That was slow to me. I just couldn't control it because of the way I dry fired. So I eliminate that now. I just dry fire, I focus on movement, and then live fire, I focus on my marksmanship and shooting ability. So basically, I look for transitions, the recoil, the timing of my gun, when the sight returns, how far my dot goes up, and how long am I staring at the dot before I'm firing the next shot, or can I time it and stuff like that. So I'm always minimizing the time and the gap of me basically, reacting to the stimulus.
Well, that's good stuff, because that's right. I mean, that's the stuff that you wouldn't really think about. Like, so you break a shot, and how long it takes you, how long are you staring at the dot before you break another one. Like, usually people are not thinking like that deep into when they're live firing or dry fire training.
Yeah,
so
it's done wonders to my shooting, and I'm hoping they just to spread that word and just kind of change a little bit of mindset on people's approach in terms of practice. I can't wait till someone lied to me a couple years ago. Said start your own business. You can do whatever you want, schedule your own time, and shoot as much as you can. That was complete BS because
yeah.
I have not shot, and I work constantly now, and constantly writing emails and constantly programming and doing code and stuff that I've never even done before. But anyway, yeah, those are the things that I can't wait to see when I can finally one day shoot maybe past 20 or 30,000 rounds and see where the skill set and what level my shooting ability will be, I guess, if there's any possible way of breaking through whatever plateau I'm in right now.
Right on. We got some questions piling up here. Jen, you want to hit some on Facebook?
Yeah, one that kind of goes along with what you were just saying is Anthony Nunez wanted to know, he says, what skills are most useful to train in live fire practice compared to daily dry fire? So you talked about that a little bit, moving to live fire, but he was asking particularly, like, what setups do you use in live fire to practice? Do you do like El-Pres? Are there certain drills you do? Or is there a part of live fire that's always the same drills for fundamentals? How do you approach live fire when you do get to do it?
So I think he's talking about there's specific drills, right? But yeah, there's certain things that I like to use. There are benchmarks that I like to use. One of them has always been the build drill. I like running that to figure out how fast I can turn over my trigger, because one of the biggest disadvantages of not being able to shoot as much is my trigger speed completely goes away. I trigger freeze a lot. It's just the fast twitch muscle is just not trained for it, no matter how much you dry fire. And it also helps in terms of learning the gun, in terms of the timing and the recoil management and all that stuff. That's one of my benchmarks. I like to be able to hit 1.8s, 1.7s consistently in the alpha zone, all 6 shots at 10 yards. The next benchmark I like to also make is it's called the pucker factor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that classifier.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
It's a couple headshots at distance, a couple of big shots at close range, a couple of no shoots here and there, and it really tests in terms of your trigger reset and control, and being able to identify a good sight picture at what distance, what's your margin of error, what's your acceptable sight picture at this distance and at that small target and stuff like that. So those are things that I like to do, and there's some benchmarks that I do. And I always set up what my dad and I call the basics, which is basically four open targets. I start at 15 yards, 20, 25, and then I go to 35, and I go to 45, and I go to 50, and then sometimes I'll go back to 55 or 60, and I'll shoot 2 rounds per target, 1 round per target, reload 1 round per target. I'll do 6 rounds in 1 target, 6 rounds in different variances and different distances, and a lot of that really, when you sum it all up, what I'm working at when I'm doing live fire is I'm working in trigger control. Let's bring back Robbie Latham. I had a conversation with him a long time ago. He basically was like, control doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You can't make it happen. A lot of people slow down to slow down, and that's just basically smoke in the wind to make it happen. It goes, to be able to make a shot happen, you have to understand how to pull off that specific shot at that given moment without any conscious thought. He goes, only then and only then will you be able to pull off that shot in competition, applying some sort of control or visual patience. And I'm like, man, that's kind of cool, because that's kind of what I've always preached to my students, whether government or competition. I used to tell people, I hated, and one of my pet peeves was telling us instructors yelling at students to slow down, because they're missing a lot. Slow down. You know, how many of us have heard that before, right? Hey, slow down, you're hitting. If you just only slow down, it's like, it's not about slowing down. It's not about the rate of fire, because slowing down is you're focusing, you're having the shooter focus on the rate of fire. To me, give them a sensory experience, have them feel the trigger a little better, and if they know exactly what a good trigger feels like or a trigger pull feels like, they know how to execute that and kind of link that with an experience. See a little better, maybe see your sights a little better, maybe a steadier sight picture, or maybe a dot, and those things that you can have some sort of sensory experience, or sensory ties into an experience where you can tap into anytime, and you can feel those things, and as opposed to randomly saying to someone, slow down.
Yeah.
So in live fire, short answer, yeah, I work on trigger control and trigger a lot of times, not so much on speed. I work on efficiency in my movement. Dry fire is where I move. I focus a lot on my movement.
Right on. We got a couple more we want to hit. Let's try to smoke through a couple of these.
All right, well, this is a really, really fast one. Jessica Nitzel wants to know, how do you get your teeth so white?
I brush my teeth twice a day.
Jessica, you have to brush your teeth, honey.
My wife, and have good lighting and wear white shirts so it reflects a little better, and it kind of works out hand in hand.
That was funny. And then a serious one. Scott Hendricks says that you seem to enjoy sharing and teaching so much. Was there a mentor or a teacher that influenced you into instruction or teaching? Yes.
There's the story is kind of long, but I'm going to cut it short. So 2002, South Africa, world shoot. I had issues with my gun. And I keep talking about Robbie Latham, but he was there. We were bunked right next to each other, and he looked at me and said, "Hey, you having problems with your gun?" I'm here, and I'm like, "Yeah," because I don't know what to do. He spent 8 hours with me, skipping the opening ceremony, to fix my gun and help me fix my gun. And I'll never forget. He said, "Whenever you're in my position," he goes, "just pass it forward, whether it's knowledge or your skill set or your talent of fixing guns." He goes, "Pass it forward." So that was one thing, and then. It carried on to being in a couple of contracting that I did with the military, not with the military, but for the military and law enforcement. I got mentored by a guy that was former Delta, and Joseph. I guess I can't really say his name, but former Delta guy, really locked on dude, and he mentored me, and he's basically like, "Hey man, don't ever be afraid to share," because he goes, "Your job as an instructor is to not judge the students that's coming into you." He goes, "But it's your job is to make them better as best as you can, giving them the knowledge that you got." He goes, "Sometimes pouring them 100% of your knowledge may not do them any good. It's all about controlling and pouring and dripping that knowledge correctly, and giving them the right amount of dose to get them fixed the way they should be, to be able to walk out the door upright instead of sideways and forward, whatever."
Oh, good stuff. So Robbie, and I'm sure your dad was also another one in there, obviously.
Oh well, I mean, obviously I keep forgetting. I don't give my dad too much credit, but yeah, my dad is the one that really just like to share. But he's always the one that he's like, "Hey," he goes, he always tells me, he's like, "Hey," he goes, "you're sharing a lot of those information for free." He goes, "You need to get paid for that." Yeah. He was like, "Come on, man, you work so hard to get those knowledge," and he goes, "You're just dishing it out there." I'm like, "Well, I don't know. It's a passion. I love doing it. I love seeing that light in the end of the tunnel. When they see that light, they're like, 'Oh my God, this is something that I've been looking for.'" And I'm like, "It's only been 5 minutes in the class. We got 24 more hours to go."
Well, and along the lines of building guns, and Rob rebuilt yours, Scott also says that JJ can build a mean Tang Fo stock too.
There you go.
I do all right. I'm not the best. I'm not like Eric. And I think a lot of that was because I was joking around. I had a live feed the other day. I was fixing Magwell, and they were like, I've been to a couple of armored school, and the first thing they always say was, "Don't grab the hammer. The last thing you need to do is grab the hammer." So, well, that day when I was doing the live feed and I was doing a little tweak on my gun, I'm like, I'm gonna grab the hammer, and here we go. I'm gonna bang it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing, are those stock twos now? They're starting to become like readily available. Before they were like, you have them at the shop too.
Yes,
right now.
Yes, in stock.
Okay.
We always seem to move them fairly well. I mean, obviously, right? They do sell fairly well, but we usually have at least one in stock.
Yeah, they were a unicorn, man. Not even the shooting team knew where to tell you to get them.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell you the truth, yes.
Yeah. Heath, you had a good one on the show notes. You want to hit it?
Yep. When you were teaching law enforcement, what was your biggest frustration, and then how did you overcome that?
I'm sorry. Do it again. I'm sorry, Heath. Give me a second. Nah, sit down over here, please. Daddy's still talking, okay? Give me a second. Just watch that first. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
That's all right. What was your biggest challenge or your biggest frustration while you were teaching law enforcement, and then what was the solution you found for it?
The biggest challenge I had initially when I was 22 years old was the age. People looked at me like I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of times people were like, oh, what are you going to teach? And initial guys that I was teaching were actually, during those contracting days, were guys that were locked on, like SEALs and all these SF and whatever background and all that stuff. And so a lot of times it's kind of like a proving ground. It was like, hey, let's see what this guy can do and stuff like that. And that was my initial frustration initially. But after you break that mold, the next thing is when I finally started working at the let me see. Yeah, I guess when I became a lead firearms instructor in New York, and what I realized was everyone is not at the same level. So when you're teaching a class of 30 or 40 or whatever it may be, or 10 maybe, every single one of them have a different issue, and you don't have time. You only have a time constraint. You have like 2 or 3 hours to spend on them, and you can't really cover all of them inside. So what I did was I simplified it and I broke it down, and 99% of the guys out there that had issues with trigger control, trigger press, trigger pull, whatever you want to call it. So I focused on that. Many of them would be surprised. They're like, hey man, you don't really talk about sights. I'm like, well, we all know what a good sight picture look like. I focus more on trigger control, and I just broke it down to reset and prep and changing their mindset. Like again, we go back to changing your mindset and approach, right? So I tell the guys a lot of times, like, hey, instead of just going out there thinking about you're going to shoot the gun, think about moving the trigger. Move that trigger back as far as you can, because we were shooting double action, single action. Move that trigger as far back as you can without thinking about shooting the gun, because the minute you start thinking about shooting the gun, your body starts anticipating the recoil and all these other chemicals start adding in, and where your grip and stuff tensing up. I just say focus on moving the trigger and see how far you can move it without dropping that hammer. And a lot of times it's like this oh shit or oh wow moment that happens where it's like, whoa, that was my first legitimate surprise shot. And I said, well, it's surprise for now. Don't forget, it's surprise for now because it's the first time you've done it correctly. Sooner or later, the more you do it, the more repetition you get to this, it won't be a surprise. You're making those shots go off, and it's no longer a surprise. So it's a change in mindset, and it's easier said than done, of course. But other than that, I break it down, and I kept it simple, and that was the biggest frustration really, was being able to teach a group of folks and being able to give that message with a very limited time.
Right on. Yeah, I want to kind of get you out of here soon here, because I know you probably patience is probably running low, obviously.
No.
But I got a couple questions here. Let's see here. I got a couple questions that we can kind of wrap this one up. But your thoughts on today's sponsorship, right? It seems that every major match you go to nowadays, everybody has a jersey with a bunch of names on it. Not that that's a bad thing, but ever since I've been following you, you never really been that guy with 1 million sponsors on your jersey. Do you feel too many sponsors slow you down or get into your head too much?
Yeah, so I could get in trouble with this, right? But yes, I do. you know, it's great for the industry to have all these representation out there and free marketing, right? It's kind of sometimes it's a joke within a group of guys or group of people, a group of folks in the industry, not in the industry, but in the competition. It's like, oh man, that guy, you know, like every one of those patches probably $5,000 a year. Goodness gracious, he's got 20. He's like, that guy's making a shitload of money or a crap load of money just shooting. And you see him shoot. It's like, oh man, he's maybe a B class or D class shooter. But I've never been the guy to chase sponsorship. I've never wanted that pressure, for one. I've always wanted to just kind of freely do my own thing and do what I had. And if I'm going to represent a company, it's a company that I truly believe in and I can support for the next 10 years or so, like I did with Limcat. It's kind of one of those things where I'm going to join a company where I think I can grow into, and that's kind of the same. It goes back to why I joined with the Caracal, because it was such a new company. I felt like they had the right amount of funds where I can maybe make a mark in this company and make this gun better, because it had a lot of potential. And it just didn't work out that way. There was communication issue where they had their own goals and paths that they wanted to go towards, and I didn't think that was fit towards what I wanted the gun to look like or perform and stuff like that. But like nowadays with a lot of these sponsorships, to me, having a lot of sponsorships, sometimes it's like a requirement to post on social media. You get these emails and checks every night. Hey, how are you doing? Are you winning? Are you doing this? You have to do this. You have to shoot this much. You have to show up this much. I never really wanted any of that. I've always wanted that enough where it can supplement my sport and it can provide me a pretty decent living, where I can still enjoy and be fun. Because at one point, even throwing him out there, even Max, one point, I believe his performance suffered. He's gotten used to it. He's gotten really good. But when he initially started getting a lot of these sponsorships, I think he was way too pressured to perform better than he usually did, and he tried even harder, and his performance suffered. I don't kind of want that. I have enough on my plate where I'm focused more on my career, my family, and then shooting kind of comes in after all of that. But having a lot of sponsorships, it's not something for me. 20, 30 sponsorship logos is another thing too. So like you said before, having them, like last year I competed with a plain black shirt a whole year. So I keep my shirts pretty simple.
Right on, yeah. I mean, I've talked to some people, and they say that wearing the jersey, and this seems to be like a whole mental thing, but wearing the jersey, they seem to perform more poorly wearing the jersey than they do without it. So let's say, just going out there with a white shirt, which are, the Reebok sleeves, whatever you got going on, right? And they just seem they perform better just going out there and just having fun and just regular clothes. The jersey kind of puts too much pressure on them. If they have it, they'll put it on when they're collecting their reward or at the ceremony, and they'll throw the jersey on, but when they're shooting, they take it off. Is that a mental thing, or is that where you're going with yours?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a mental thing, because I like to represent the companies that I do represent. I like to show them, because a lot of videos get posted and stuff like that when you're shooting. So I do like to post, and I do like to wear my uniform. To me, really, it comes down to, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people, everyone now is a sponsored shooter, right? And whatever the level of sponsorship is, everyone's a sponsored shooter nowadays. But to me, it's there's the pressure that does come to play there. A lot of that's pressure, depending on how involved the sponsor is, how whether they're there at the match, following you, and always constantly checking on you, how you're doing, how well you're doing. Sometimes you don't really want to talk about that, especially if you just had a bad run. But don't get me wrong. The first time I ever put in an official jersey with my name on it and patches and all that stuff, I was damn proud, and I couldn't wait to go out there and shoot in that jersey. There was some sort of pride that comes with it. So as much as many people out there, and it's kind of getting washed up, and people are sponsored here or there, I think back on my first time ever putting on a jersey. There's a lot of pride that comes to it, man, and it's cool that these companies are getting free advertisement because these guys are just wearing it for free just because in honor that they shoot that gun or they like the company or whatever. So I'm totally cool with that.
Right on.
So yeah, like I said, my opinion varies on that a little bit, depending on who's who, but I can get in trouble in terms of some of the things that I like to say on certain people with that, but that's neither here or there. That's not my job to do.
Right. Any new projects, goals, events, or matches you got coming up you want to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. My project, basically, the next thing we're going to do in terms of the in terms of the company, we're going to get into remanufactured ammunition. We're going to start loading our ammunition. We're just waiting for some of the machines to come in and all that stuff. So right now, I'm testing some of the load data, the overall length, and all these stuff, the velocities and all this stuff, to see which one works best for which gun, depending on how it feels for me and what I see in terms of the reaction, and then minimizing the reaction stimulus response in my brain. And the next thing is for me is to be able to focus on the nationals. I don't know how I'm going to be able to practice on that. Last match I shot was Infinity Open. That was the first match I shot in Open division since 2011. So I don't know how I'm going to prepare for the U.S. Nationals coming in October with the time that I have or the time that I don't have. So basically, I'm just dry firing. My goal is to really make it to the U.S. team again. The last time that Chris, Max, KC, and I were in a team together was 2011, and we actually set a very high overall points, and we set the world record. We blew the current world record before. I didn't even know there was a world record, but we blew that wide open, and I'd like to be able to be part of that. And I know if we're us three or us four are together again, we'd have a good opportunity to have a good race at the end of the world shoot. Hopefully I'm pulling away, but if it's a good race, I love a good chase. But it's a tough hill because Max is shooting like a maniac. Casey's just getting better, and Chris Tilley just came off of a national win. So all these guys are confident, where I'm sitting here not knowing what speed I should shoot or what rate of fire should I push, or is my rate of fire currently good enough, and stuff like that. So it'll be a huge test this nationals. I was told that I have to place in the top 3 to have a better chance or a good chance at making the team to be the captain's pick, since I didn't have enough points. So yeah, that's my initial goal, and my future goal will be to win a couple more of those world championship, whether it's Steel Challenge, and win finally a national title next year. Probably, hopefully, I was a little bit jealous that someone else won the production nationals this year, even though I didn't get to go. So it hurt me a little bit more to see that someone else took it besides Ben, and it wasn't me. And I've always thought that I could win that multiple times, but now that I'm in the open, I got to kind of split my time in both.
Yeah, I was surprised to see those results because Ben usually takes it. So, but there it is. There's always a new guy coming training hard, man. You never really stay at the top.
That's it.
So that's it. There's always some guy behind you doing better or trying harder.
That's
so, want to throw this one at you here. What your thoughts on the trend of open shooters going to micro red dots instead of the traditional C-more sights?
That's my thoughts on it.
What's that? Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
No, I look at it this way. The micro does help, right? As long as they put it on the mount, not put it on the slide. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't give you any advantage from that. The micro helps because of ejection and porting issues, but I'd rather spend more time in tuning my ejection and extractors to work around my scope rather than taking a chance that in the middle of my run it'll short circuit. I don't think those sights are proven yet. And if you look at the top 5 in the world, I look at what the top shooters are doing, right? And I try to do what they do. So the top 5 in the world are all shooting C-more. The Eric Raffel, who's shot 15 years in the open division and dominated 99% of the matches. 99.9% of the matches he joined, he won. He won every world championship. He still goes to the plastic C-more, the aluminum C-more, the big one, the old slide rides. I look at that, and you always got to wonder, why do they go there as opposed to the new ones, the RTS or the Leopold Deltas and all that stuff. So to me, it's a lot of it's my personal opinion. It's viewing angle, being able to see a little better in terms of tint on the lens, and just the setup. The offset is not enough for it to be. People talk about like all random things, and I'm like, no, dude, just get your skills up before you start worrying about the offset. It's a little too much. I'm shooting wood. I'm like, well, that's your fault. You shot wood. I was like, I don't know. Top shooters don't seem to have a problem with that. But that's just my opinion on it. That's why I'm not convinced yet. I'm not going to switch over to an RTS or anything smaller than that. I'm going to stick with a slide ride.
And apparently Anthony is frozen.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I just realized
Yes.
that. I'm like, wait a minute.
He's not moving at all. He may have to back out and come back, but we can do discount corner while he is frozen because we have not done discount corner yet. So I'll start with the discounts that I have. You can go to Carbon Arms. Show still live? Yes. Okay. He was asking if we're still live. Carbon Arms, you can get good shotgun caddy holders and AR-15 handguards and different parts at carbonarms.us, and you can get 10% off with TSM10. Also, Samson Manufacturing, you can get 10% off and get scope mounts, all things AR-15. And that is also TSM10 at their website is samson-mfg.com. Nikki, you got some?
Of course. If you're looking to build an AR, be sure to hit up me or Heath on Facebook. If you have questions about a barrel, we can get you 15% off at Criterion Barrels. Just be sure to hit us up on Facebook. Or if you want to look fantastic out on the range, maybe have your pictures of your butt posted all over Facebook, you can check out, hit us up. We have a 20% discount for True Spec, and we'd love to get you some True Spec codes so you can check out their new pants, especially the new Vector pants. I haven't posted any pictures of Heath's butt in those pants, but those pictures are coming soon, so be on the lookout. But yeah, we can get you 20% off True Spec. Check out American Defense Manufacturing. Also, they have scope mounts, handrails, or full AR builds. They built our rifles that we're shooting, and they also put Criterion barrels in their rifles. You can use discount code 3GUN10. That's the number 3, the word gun, and the number 10. If you go to DED is Deadeye Design. It is a company out of the Philippines that makes shooting shirts, but he's a shooter as well, so he designs shirts for shooters by shooters. Really cool stuff. I've seen Di Muller and I say Amy. Right. I call them out. We can save you 10% on those shirts as well. You just type in Team Clevenger, Team Space Clevenger, save you 10%. Remember to order a size bigger than you would normally, because they are a little bit small, a little more fit like JJ down there. So their shirts tend to run a little bit smaller. So European sizing. Order a size up.
Yeah, if you're JJ, the shirts fit perfect.
Yes.
Listen. I'm not small. I'm not KC size. I'm like 5. I'm just under 6 foot. All right. Listen.
All right, where we are with Discount Corner. Jen, did you start us off?
Yes, I started us off, and Nikki's gone, so now you.
Oh, it's now up to me. All right, I got Dewey rods. TSM 15 saves you 15% off anything over at DeweyRods.com. Also, I got Taran Tactical Innovations. Everybody wants TTI parts, and that's TaranTacticalInnovations.com. TSM 10 saves you 10% off the base pads, the Benelli M2s, the Glocks, all the fancy stuff over there, all the gunsmith stuff that they do at TTI. Tactical, they got a lot of new stuff coming out. They got low mass bull carrier groups, titanium, bull carrier, good stuff. Barrels integrated with the Rage compensator, ready to go. They got a lot of stuff coming out, so check them out. That's umtactical.com. TSM10 saves you 10% off anything over at Tactical. Tacticalshit.com. TSM10 saves you 10% off your entire order at tacticalshit.com. And that'll do it. I think. Oh, I got a RAND CLP here. RAND CLP is Mindset 16. Saves you 15% off anything at randclp.com. If you purchase anything from the shootersmindset.com website, the shop, I'm throwing in a free bottle of RAND CLP for every order. So it's also another way to get a bottle there of RAND CLP. And that'll do it. I'll wrap it up for Discount Corner on my end. I don't know if we have any live that you want to hit real quick, and then I'm pretty much wrapped up. But we didn't do lightning round, but I guess we can hit that. Yeah, well, I guess we'll jump into that.
Lightning round. I'm curious.
What's that?
Let's do the lightning round. I'm curious.
All right, so we'll do the lightning round. We had some new ones in here since the last time JJ was on. I know there might be some old ones still in there. But start off with this one here. Toilet paper roll. Is the flap over the top or underneath the roll?
Over the top. Has to be.
On it. Yeah, it has to be. Going into a Mexican restaurant, are you ordering tacos or burritos?
Burritos.
Burritos.
Unless it's fish tacos. Unless they're famous for fish tacos.
Fish tacos.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. That's some healthy stuff there. It's not supposed to be. I don't even.
No, it's like deep fried fish. This is not
Not healthy. What kind of fish tacos you
Oh.
eat?
I was wondering.
I do not go in a Mexican place looking for fish tacos, man. It's just.
I know, right?
You don't go to.
If you eat Mexican, you eat burritos, you either eat chicken or beef. That's it. Chicken or beef.
Man, Heath, next time you're in Vegas, I think you're gonna be here in October. I'm gonna take you to the best fish taco there is, bro. You will friggin' love it. You'd be convinced.
All right.
Was that? I think I'm. Am I frozen? Oh, I'm back. I'm back. All right.
We can
Having some connection issues here. All right, yeah, I'm having some connection issues. Chevy or Ford, if you can only drive one, JJ, what do you got?
Chevy.
Chevy, agree. Oreos or Chips Ahoy?
Man, Oreos, because my wife always gets it. I'm not a sugar guy, but my wife always gets Oreos. She's a cookie monster, and that's the one I've been chomping down lately. Terrible.
Right on. More cookies. Thin Mints or Samoa Girl Scout cookies, what are you getting?
The Thin Mints again, because my wife likes mint chocolate, so that's the only thing.
She has good taste in cookies, I tell you that, because these are all the right answers. And what do you have? In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys? You're in Vegas. There's an In-N-Out Burger real close to you. I know you probably don't eat a lot of burgers, but if you had to choose one, what are you eating?
In-N-Out Burger. I'll eat a quadruple all day long.
Well, there you go. In-N-Out is the right answer. And if you can compete in one of these games, is it MMA or boxing?
I almost went for a Golden Glove championship a while back, so it'd be boxing because I'd be carrying over the torch from my grandfather.
Very nice. So boxing is the winner here.
I do love MMA. I love it, but you get beat up all the time. So
Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris get into a fight in their prime. Who wins?
Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah. Why would you know he'd say that?
Because he just said that he did boxing like that, and that his dad did the karate. I say karate. I know he said some fancy term. That stuff.
It's a judo, right?
And that's stuff that Bruce Lee did.
Yeah, right on.
Right.
There you go.
If I said Chuck Norris, I'd probably my face and picture would probably be the target of most Asian guys right now. So my following would disappear about 90%.
Well, see, there you go, Anthony. He said it. I didn't have to.
I'll do it for you.
Right on. All right. I mean, that's pretty much the lightning round here. Do we have any live you want to hit? Because I'm done with my questions on my notes. If we got any live, we can hit it and then wrap it up.
We're pretty good. Don Nelson Alaska says that his sponsors are tattooed. That's why everyone wants him to take his shirt off.
Yeah, there you go. Sponsors.
That's a pretty big commitment right there. That's
Goodness, that contract better be really, really well written.
Yeah.
Any discount codes that you had, JJ? Anything at the shop? Any sales going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Call the shop anytime. I'll give you a discount. No, I'm kidding. So
I get a discount on my knee pads I'm gonna buy.
Yeah, mention the show. I'll call it in, and I will make sure you get a discount on anything you order. Yeah, the STI 1911s, they're always on. They're actually just coming on sale, which is pretty cool. So yeah, call in the shop if you guys want any of that.
STI stuff.
That STIs could go on sale, but
sure they can. You just got to be a big enough buyer.
All right, and I think there's one or two that I probably left in the YouTube comment section, but I'm having a hard time getting to it right now on my phone. But I think we can wrap this one up. I think it was a good show. We kind of left some of the show segments out to the very end because JJ was spitting so much good knowledge. I didn't want to interrupt that with show segments, so it just made sense to push those to the side for this show. We had a lot of live questions, which is always great, so we always appreciate those. It really helps the show move along. So shout-outs here. Jen, we'll start off with you. What do you have?
Lansing Tactical, Load Up Ammunition, Sharpshooters of Augusta, Shooters of Augusta, Taran Tactical, Grizzly Targets, Carbon Arms, Lucas Oil, Vortex, Blade Tech, TacticalLife.net, Samson. I think that's all. And a big shout out still to Scott Lumbert, who is still struggling right now and had that bad crash with the drag boat race, Spirit of Texas, going 260 miles an hour. He's still in a coma, so prayers still lifted up for him.
Yeah, prayers definitely listed up for that, man. That's 220. Whew. Man, that's some high flyer stuff right there. Team Clevenger, what do you have?
I'm gonna try to make this quick because I like to talk, so I haven't gotten to do that a lot this show because of JJ, but it's okay because I've been taking notes.
JJ took all the talking time of Nikki.
I'm alright with that though because I've been trying to write. I'm gonna shout out Criterion Barrels, American Defense Manufacturing, Eagle Imports, Pure Gold Shotgun Chokes, the official choke of 3 Gun Nation, Stage Zero Shooting Supply, and Donnie Flo. The Outdoor Shop, support your local gun shop. If you don't have a local gun shop, you can check out mine at theoutdoorshop.rocks, or you can check out JJ's in Vegas, because that seems pretty cool. Next time we're in Vegas, we'll be stopping by.
Yeah, we got to stop by. It's a must. It's a must to add on the schedule.
I'm going to shout out Safariland, True Spec, obviously, for making my days at the range a little bit more enjoyable with those pants on him. And shout out ZT, Zero Tolerance Knives again. Got to keep shouting them out. Those knives are freaking awesome. I never knew I liked knives until I had one of theirs. And Red Hill Tactical for your competition holster needs and concealed carry holster needs.
Right on, good stuff there. On my end, I got Rand CLP. Definitely check out Rand CLP for your gun cleaning needs. Solvent, CLP. They got grease. Some new stuff that they released there. Also, DK Custom Triggers for a fine Glock trigger. Taran Tactical Innovations, always a big supporter of the show for a very, very long time now. Definitely thanks to JJ, man. Thanks for taking some time out and talk to us a second time here. We really appreciate it. And we can constantly talk to you, man. I know we can bring the show to a 2-3 hour mark easy talking to JJ about some training, right? And then keep the live questions going. So we appreciate that. Definitely S3F Solutions. Thanks for supporting the show. Much appreciated there. I know I'm sold out of them. I have one here for the 35 that I have coming. But Tactical Shit just got a restock of all S3F barrels for Glock. So if you have a 19, 17, 35, 34, wherever you're at, they got a restock. So head over there, and you can always use TSM 10 for 10% off their barrel that they have in stock. Rise Armament, I mean, wicked good AR triggers. I know we haven't talked much about AR during the show, but this is the Super Sporting trigger here. I got currently like 7 of them in stock, and they're high fly, man, and they're only $119. Kind of hard to beat that. Gear Nation, thanks for, I know he was putting in questions saying for JJ to take off his shirt along with John McClain. Said they were kind of teaming up on the shirt talk, but he also he makes great shirts actually. He wants people to take off the shirt, but he also makes great shirts. So check out his apparel company over on Facebook. I have a link down in the description below. It's Gear Nation USA. All right, if you want to email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com is a good way to do that. Definitely subscribe to the channel right below. Hit the subscribe button every Wednesday at 9. We do a new episode of Shooters Mindset, and we got a giveaway coming shortly here. Promoting the website. So that'll do it. I think we got, I know, JJ, you have some shout-outs there.
Oh, yeah, I just want to thank a lot of my sponsors, really. Like, they supported me even though right now I'm in a down year. I'm not doing my job, which is going out there and shooting. But like thank Foglio, EAA, for supporting me constantly, always understanding my current status and position right now, that I'm not focused on my family and my business. I want to thank Ghost Holster. Phenomenal holsters. I really enjoy them. The more I use them, the more I actually really start to like them more and more. Check out Reebok shoes and some of the gear, shorts and stuff like that. They actually have really good stuff for shooting. My shooting shoes right now is one of my favorite. It's one of those that feels like a sneaker. I can run a 5 mile if I ever ran further than a mile, but if I can run a terrain run or a 5 miler on these shoes on concrete or whatever, they feel comfortable. They feel great on the shoes, on my feet. My hearing pros. I don't know if you guys never see my ear pros because they're in ear. No one ever sees them, but they're.
It almost looks like you don't have any on. I was watching a video with it. They're like, are they from? Is it Harrison Sons or?
Yeah, Harrison Sons, man. He's amazing. I met him 3 years ago, and he came up with this thing, and I started using it for work, actually, just in case I ever had to deploy my gun for whatever reason at work, whether I was in a mission or whatever. I started using it, and it was great. I was confident that I could enhance my hearing, and still be able to shoot and stuff like that. The whole concept is that it doesn't shut off. It compresses to a certain level, so I never lose a sense of hearing, or I never have the on and off feel. It just it's constant. So yeah, it's great. It's molded. It's custom to my ear. What else? I guess that'd be it. No, Rudy Project. They've been supporting with me for a long time. I would say almost 8 years, 9 years now. They've been awesome. They love their glasses because it's Asian fit. I used to wear Oakleys and I used to fog up constantly, but with Rudy Project being customized and bends and all that stuff, man, it fits me perfectly. I absolutely love them and enjoy wearing them.
That's it. It's a new tagline on the glasses. They're Asian fit. Rudy Project sunglasses. They're Asian fit. There you go. All right. I mean, I think that'll wrap it up here. I mean, this is episode 149 of the Shooter's Mindset featuring JJ Racaza. Man, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. We'll see you hopefully at SHOT Show next year, and we'll definitely stop by the shop. We got to check that out in person. We'll probably throw some promotional videos up at the shop. Why not? And that'll do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next Wednesday. What do you got?
One more. I got to shout out my wife for allowing me to chase my dream while she's cranking hard and all that stuff while I'm out here and all that stuff. So I got to shout her out. She's awesome. My whole family really has been great. My dad understanding the whole thing and whatever, supporting me. Anyway, it's being corny now, but I got to
nice recovery though. You almost missed out on that one. So it could have went bad for you. Good recovery. Yeah, right. You didn't you shout out all those people, but you didn't shout out me, you bastard. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I can imagine hearing that. But all right, that'll do it, guys. Episode 149 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next Wednesday.